Hey, good morning. It's Mike Shunke with Berkshire Hathaway Homes and Shift One Properties in Paradise Valley. After our meeting, we're going to talk about residential, we're going to talk about commercial, and we're going to talk about the economy. Got a lot to go through here and about 12 minutes to get through it. So let's see, inventory up again a little bit. We're getting there. We're not quite where we need to be, but we're getting there. It's been kind of a crazy week. You know, sometimes I think I'm a therapist, walking people off the ledge, buyers and sellers. You know, I'm hired to sell your property. We're not here to test the market. I'm hired to sell your property, and if we're going to do it, we're going to do it. So we're doing it. And on the buy side, you know, that's the same thing. If we're doing it, let's do it. So had new home sales this week. New home sales, that's new constructions. That was up in March, and existing home sales was down. Now, I guess to the layperson, they kind of sound like the same thing. New home sales they are recorded when they go under contract. A lot of those don't make it to the closing table, so I don't have a lot of faith in that number because we see a lot of fallout. Existing home sales are recorded when the home is closed. So, you know, that's different. And that was down. The media wants to say the home sales are slowing and all over. These are nationwide numbers, remember. We're still super busy here. It's slowed down a little bit this week, but those are nationwide numbers. They still had 4 million homes closed, existing home sales. That's a decent number, especially considering last year was pretty low numbers. But 4 million, that's still a pretty good number. We've got 44 million homeowners in the United States with mortgages under 6%. So, you know, they're pretty comfortable. If they don't need to sell, sellers are not real anxious. You still have the death, divorce, life changes, downsizing, upsizing, those things that happen. But, you know, if you're sitting in a pretty good mortgage, 3-4% even, and you don't have to sell, you've got a lot of equity. You can sell. And I always say your home kind of becomes your bank. So if you are looking to get out of it and you lost your money in the stock market, say, which I don't want to say that. I said it, though. But that's why we're live. We just spit it out here. But say you don't have your down payment for your next one. Take out a home equity line of credit. Use that as your down payment on your next one and get your cash. Like you said, your home is your bank for the rest of your life. That's one of the biggest advantages of buying. When you rent, you never really know. Your rent's going to usually go up, and you never know when you're going to need to move. There's not that stability. So, you know, 50-some years old, I like stability. But we still have that gap between sellers and buyers. We're getting closer, getting people closer. But, you know, in Arizona, we're heading into that time of the year. We're almost to May already, unbelievably. But if you are not under contract by July, even halfway through June, you're going to sit through the summer probably, and it's going to cost you. So you got to do something now, whether it's either location, condition, or price. You can't change the location. Condition you can, but you're never going to match what a new buyer wants. So it's price. And if you can't come down on price, offer something. Give up, you know, say we'll pay your closing costs. We'll do some seller concessions. We'll buy down your rate. So there's ways to work around. You know, if you want to move. Let's figure out how that works. So, and like I said, I don't make up the markets. The markets are what they are. I just tell you what the numbers are, and we get it done. So commercial is not like residential. Actually, I had some big meetings this week with Berkshire Hathaway has never really had or been known for the commercial market. I'll tell you, most people don't know. Realtors are independent contractors. They hang their license with a broker. We pay the franchise for their tools but every realtor, I always like Berkshire says, you're in business for yourself, but not in business by yourself. So, you know, on the commercial end, it's your network. So I've been talking with corporate about really building that brand in Arizona. And let's get the commercial going. I think I'm the only one in our office here in Scottsdale that does it. There's a few that play around with it, but let's try and build that brand nationwide. This, you know, Colorado, they've got a big presence on the commercial end, some California, but let's get Arizona. Let's build it. So if you're, you know, an agent and want to work on that, give me a shout. We're going to be working on that. Anyway, commercial, you know, clients are not afraid. It's just all about the numbers. So I've been doing a lot of valuations this week. And if It's been crazy busy this week. I've been kind of all over the place. So if I owe you something and you're expecting something from me, please just give me a call. It's, I have a pretty good system that I think works, but give me a call. So commercial, Arizona Commerce Authority came out, said they're working with 450 companies that are either expanding or relocating to Arizona. And a lot of that's right here in the valley. It's data centers. Real quick, Arizona is not short on water. Arizona is going to be short on power. That's the big news on the commercial end. Data centers take a lot of power. We have it right now, but they're building all on the outskirts. So Canadian Climate Control Company opened 275,000 square feet in Mesa. Another Superstition Gateway Shopping Center. Retail shopping centers are super hot right now. Set a new record. It was the highest sale price in 2 years since Scottsdale Promenade was sold. And that's just looking at cap rates and what you can do to increase the rents in those and managing that. So, and again, it's all about numbers. There's a Canadian rare earth company that's opening also in Mesa factory, some kind of rare earth recycling. So, you hear about the tariffs and prices going up. A lot of companies are coming to America and they're coming to Arizona. It just makes sense. You don't build, what did I hear yesterday? You don't build data centers on fault lines or where there's tornadoes. You build them in Arizona. We have low insurance rates and, pretty stable environment for your business. So, have fun fact. We had a commercial meeting, Scottsdale commercial meeting, and it's, like I said, that's all about networking. Lady from I forget, what's her name? Bridget, maybe? She's from the Cactus League, and she said that she was talking about the Cactus League during spring training brings in $712 million to the area, and it's really an economic boost for this area. But what was interesting, 21% of the visitors are for the Chicago Cubs. So Arizona has always been popular from Chicago. Growing up on the East Coast, everybody goes to Florida. I ended up in Arizona because I don't like the humidity. But Chicago's a popular place for Arizona. So I thought that was interesting. 21% out of the 13 or whatever teams that come here. Economy. A lot of funny stuff going on. I was looking back, I started these Friday market lives about 2.5 years ago. And I was looking back at some of the first ones. They were pretty bad. Some of these are pretty bad too, but they're real. So that's why we do them live. But 2.5 years ago, they were talking about recession. That was 2.5 years ago, and now they're talking about it again. So, you don't listen to the noise. It's just headlines. Who was it? Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street. Is that his name? Jordan Belfort? He said, you can watch CNBC, MSNBC, you can watch Fox Business, and they make it look like you can trade stocks day to day and make money. It's just entertainment. It's like watching HGTV and thinking you can build a house or do a transaction. It's like watching House or what's that medical show? I don't know. And thinking you're a doctor. So, there's so much information out there. And actually, they interviewed on CNBC a guy from the Chicago Board of Options Exchange. And there's a lot of volatility and uncertainty going on right now. And he was talking about there's big moves. A TikTok post that's completely false will move the market. So there's just a lot. There's easy access to the markets. Now, I don't play on the stocks. I play more on the bond market. It just interests me. I know that, you can't make money jumping in and out of money in and out of the stock market. I've been there. By the time you hear the news, it's old news. You can't make a profit on it long term. Buy the S&P. I guarantee S&P will be higher in 20 years. I don't know if it's going to go up and down between then, but stock market's long term, and the stock market's not the economy. But there's been a whole generation that has seen nothing but up news, and the investment's growing on government money, but that's a different topic. But just trading, there's all these kids and all these Twitter, especially. I stopped going on Twitter now just because it's ridiculous. It's so much fake news. But this guy at the Board of Options Exchange was talking about they have to consider that because a news headline will come out completely false, and there's going to be trades off it. Large A hedge fund is a hedge fund. A hedge fund doesn't randomly pick a stock. A hedge fund is offsetting some sort of investment. They don't care if the markets go up or down. They buy a call, they buy a put, and they just want the markets to move, and then they make money. So they're happy. They're killing it. It's the little guy that's getting hurt that thinks that they are the stock market expert. And this economy has a lot of uncertainty right now. There's historically, stocks go down, people would move their money to bonds, bond prices would go up, yields would go down, the dollar would go down. That's not all happening. Things are moving in kind of some odd different ways now that don't really make sense. And that's happening because there's a lot of uncertainty in the short term. Usually you would think the 2-year note, the 2-year note and the 10-year note, that's always a popular gauge to follow of where the economy is. Usually you would see the 10-year note wag around with the volatility in the 10-year note because it's longer. There's more risk. You don't know what's going to happen in 10 years. 2-year, there's less risk. You know what's going to happen tomorrow. But that's opposite. Now we're seeing the volatility in the 2-year. So short-term uncertainty, and it's all just headline generated. But that's all just noise. The Fed, there's a high, the experts say that there's little chance of a Fed rate cut before summer. I agree with them. There's really no reason. We have jobs. People are working. Yes, prices are high. Things are a little tight, but it always goes back to jobs. And if people are working, then they feel comfortable. There's that uncertainty of, what's going to happen down the road, but that's all just noise. You focus on your day-to-day, and that's my job. I say it every week. Get the emotion out of your deal, out of your real estate deal. I'll show you the numbers. We'll show you the facts. Let's get it done. Sell, buy. There's a lot of brokers, agents out there that just want to do volume and get your listing and have their name plastered everywhere. But, if I want to be there for you and get your done. Every real estate coach will tell you, specialize in a certain asset class. I don't really do that, but I've never done anything normal. Actually, I do things a little different all the time. I specialize in relationships. Any asset class you can kind of trade the same, whether it's residential or commercial, and some sort of economics asset. They all kind of trade however the markets trade. But I focus on the relationships with the clients. I want to be there for your residential. I want to be there for your commercial. And just, whatever, if I can answer any questions and help you build wealth in real estate. So I got to run in right now.
What's important you want to mention?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to run in now. Got some running around to do. I think the FBI lady is talking at this broker group this morning because there's a lot of fraud in real estate. So be careful out there. Like I said, you don't really know what's happening behind the scenes. A lot happens that is not. It doesn't make the headline. So anyway, I got to run in. Have a great day. Be smart. Be safe. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions at all, if you want to buy, sell, land, I need land. I need lots of land. We're getting a lot of calls for that. Happy to help. Just pick up the phone. Give me a shout. I'm a little tired of texting back and forth 17 times. So let's have a 30-second phone call. Give me a call. Happy to help however I can. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Be smart. Be safe. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye.